So this is the second episode of You Get It. You Get It being unabashedly giving all the time. And again, for the viewers watching this, full disclosure, Bob and I actually recorded this 8 hours ago. Why? Because Bob is actually Central European time and would have been like way late or way early in the morning, depending on how you look at it, if we were to actually do it live. So we decided to record it earlier today. So that being said, it's still going to be a great show. So welcome, Bob.
Thank you very much. Thank you also for considering my time zone and then giving me the opportunity to record in ahead. Thank you and hello to everyone.
So one of the big things, again, the way you and I connected is thanks to this community that we're part of called Audience of Income. But I think what really got my attention was, Bob, that what you and I are talking about, going back to You Get It, is something that you have been doing consistently, something that really showcases the brilliance in others. And it's all about giving, right? So talk a little bit about the shout out Fridays that you started. Like, what was the trigger behind it? And then the wake up call when you realize that people are actually looking forward to it, right? So talk a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, actually, thank you for the question. I was mostly concerned about what I can do to serve my community. It may sound a bit crazy, but I was like, how can I help? And myself, with a following of over 20,000 connections, I was like, okay, how can I get a bit more to know my followers, my connection, and at the same time, how to provide a platform where some of my connection, the member of the community with a less number of followers, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, can get some exposure. That's a bit how I started with the idea. So I would say it was first also for me to have a tool, or let's say an approach, to get to know my connection, to know people in my network, in my community. Because I do believe that the more you really understand, you know people in the community, the more you work on establishing, building, and nurturing a relation, even if it's virtual, the more you get back. And that's how it started. And it was at the beginning something quite simple for me, just reaching out to the members saying, hi, I have this format. Do you think that it may be interesting for you? Do you want to be showcased? And then I was surprised by the resonance and the acceptance of that. And then now it has just become a kind of daily, how to say that,
A routine
format, yeah. where people are waiting for that and then asking and remembering me even. So it's a big, like, we are meeting online and they say, hey, tomorrow is Friday, and I say, yeah, let's meet tomorrow Friday, as if we are meeting somewhere. And that's amazing, how we can go from virtual and then start setting some routine in how we behave and how we work with each other. And it has been quite interesting so far.
So Bob, you mentioned a lot of things over there, which in again, I can relate to it perfectly because I'm in the same boat, which is you have to give, you have to elevate others. But if there's a large business oriented approach, which is all about return on investment, which is all about, okay, you're putting in X hours, how much did you get back? You're putting in $1, did you make $1.50, right? Whereas what you and I are talking about here is really the long game, right? I was talking to another good connection of mine yesterday, a recent connection, and he was talking about karma. This is a karma bank, which is you have to give without any expectation of taking anything back. But the more you give, the more you build that karma bank. So again, I know you and I talked about this last week when people ask you, hey, well, like what's the end goal? Like, what? And you said, I don't know, right? Which is, and it's a very disconcerting answer for people who are very business oriented, right?
Yeah, I think, Ashwin, I think that the question and the central question in that is that doing business, you have definitely two options. And you can either approach the business on a transactional basis or a relational one. That's actually quite simple. And if I set on the long term game, I will set on the relational basis. That means trying to build relationship, business relationship, right? And that's a simple question. Are you actually interested in business transaction, or are you interested in business relationship? And once you have answered this question, everything else is simple, right? Because if I'm interested in business relationship, I will definitely invest in that relationship, knowing that the return will be also equal to what I put it. If I'm investing in a transaction, I'll probably look for hacks and shortcuts to get there, but also with the same result. And I think what we are talking about is also pretty the challenge a lot of people are facing on LinkedIn, right? They are looking for hacks. They're looking for shortcuts. They're looking for a way to get there. I mean, it's a way, right? I don't want to really put the one. It's just a way. It's a choice. At the end of the day, you have to make a choice. And when you make the choice, you just have to be consequent. And what we are doing with our community, and what I'm trying actually also to communicate, transmit, and also to share with my community, is that the only sustainable way is the long-term game. The only sustainable way is actually the relationship-oriented one, because it's only the only way you can also understand what is the pain point of your audience, potential customer, and also assess how to solve it, right? And I think it's actually business as usual, if you can say like that, but it's definitely a question of why, right? Why I am doing what I'm doing, right? Because when you go back to your why, you probably understand that if you want to do things with purpose, if you want to lead with purpose, you definitely have to look for a relationship-oriented way of doing business. And that's what we are trying to do with our community on LinkedIn.
Yeah, no, I can completely relate to you. So one of the other questions that folks have, right, which is, I will give back once I have something worthy of giving back. But again, like what you and I are talking about earlier, I mean, you just talked about you're a journalist. You're not waiting for Bob to become a great writer or a great video producer. You just look around, you have a community, there are people with less followers, and here you are. So even how did you get into that mindset of, I don't have to be a mega influencer before I start giving back? You can start giving back right now, today. And so that imposter syndrome, that do I have anything worthy of giving back? Will people even cherish what I'm giving back? I mean, how do you get over that mental hurdle, the imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I think, and that's a quite interesting point, because it's not only about giving back, it's the challenge we used to have, even when you have some of my coaching clients asking, what should I write about, Bob, right? I don't know anything, something like that. And the point is, you are always ahead of someone, always, no matter where you are, always. And if you start from there and then understand that you are always ahead of one, and then try to do something with what you have now, and that's the second point, because life is in the now, right? If you start saying, no, it's when will I have 10,000 and then I will have 5,000, you never get there. And if you understand that life is in the now, and then everything you did today is actually what decides for tomorrow, then you will start with what you have. And then you will understand, okay, you have to start with what you have. Then you will say, for example, okay, I would like to give back to my community. And then what does that mean? It means leveraging what I have. What do I have? I have community with people of 2,000, 3,000, 5,000. How can I do to give them some exposure? And then go for it, right? And to be honest, at the beginning, I didn't have a clear idea on how it should look like. I just started, I proposed, and then through the way, and that's also quite interesting, because we are co-creators, right? We are co-creators, and when you leverage your community, you create with them. And that's also the second point when we are talking about LinkedIn creator. People most of the time think they'll have to go in there because you say, okay, you have to have something original and sort of thing. They think you have to go in your room, close the door, and then think out and then come outside. No, you are actually part of the community. So you are co-creating, you are co-building. And that's the easiest way actually to move forward, because you are not anymore alone, you are together. And the more you are, the bigger it is, and then the journey is easier for everyone of community.
Great. And one other thing, which is again, at least for me personally, probably the hardest hill to climb, and I'm still climbing, is the consistency, right? And you mentioned this a few times. You have this weekly Friday thing, you have this monthly thing talking about big influencers, I mean, you were mentioning this when we first talked, right? You were not even aware of people waiting for your Friday post, right? So that consistency aspect, and again, no one is going to come and tell you, hey, Bob, if you do this, people are going to wait for it, and you just experimented, right? So again, how does somebody get that consistency into his or her system to say, okay, this is, again, back to the long game. This is not a post that's going to go viral today and you're going to have lots of people wanting to listen to you, right? You have to stay consistent. And how do you drive that discipline?
And I think, thank you again for the question. And talking about that, I'll, for example, refer to you the book, one of my best, if I can say like that, book is Atomic Habits, yeah, where he's actually addressing the mindset, right? Yeah. And then he's saying, and that's what one of the key challenge we do have on LinkedIn. You will see people will say, okay, post every day, right? Yeah. Post every day, and sort of thing. And it's not about the goal. Because when you say to someone, or when you say to yourself, I want to post 2-3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, you are more struggling with the goal of posting. But it's not about the goal of posting, it's about getting the right process. And that's where actually I started. I didn't bother about how many times I'll post. I bothered about what is the right process for me. And then the process will see also what is the right format. For example, having a kind of, let's say, appointment with my audience. And that's what we are saying, for example, right? So people know that on Friday, they will see Bob shouting, celebrating other people. They know that on the Monday, Bob will be talking about, for example, motivation, speak, his own experience. On Wednesday, he will give. So that means I was more focused on how to align on the right process, also with the right pace. Because another point, right? My first goal is actually to build the community, to interact with my people. So that means the time I'm putting on writing and putting content, I have also to think about what is the time necessary actually to go after that, to interact with the people, to answer to the comment. And last time I had a friend of mine who was looking at my comment and say, hey, Bob, how do you do? People are commenting on your post as if they are writing another post. So they have like, comment with 300, and how do you do? I say yes, because they know that no matter how long the comment is, I'll take time to really answer to that comment. And they know that I care. And because I care, they also invest time in that relationship. That's only possible because I've been focusing on the system and not on the goal. That means not on the goal of posting that much time or how many times per week, not, but on the system of what is necessary to be consistent. And when you switch actually the thoughts, when you switch the mindset, right? So that means when you work more on the system and less on the result and the goal, the consistency comes with it. So you don't have to think about it. It takes care of itself. But when you put the focus more on the goal and the result, you struggle with your consistency. Because the question is that, oh, wow, I have to post 6 weeks. Oh, I don't have 6 posts. What should I do this week? Oh, I'm struggling for the next post because, and that's the point. And I think that is actually the key difference, right? Focusing on the process and not on the goal or the result. And then the consistency will take care of itself.
Yeah. So getting to the end of it, but I wanted to kind of ask you, I mean, was there a aha moment for you? Was there a light bulb moment in your life where suddenly this giving became your anchor, right? Because lots of us, for me, I remember it's probably 2.5 years ago, it's like, they don't teach this in business school. You don't, I mean, but to your point, you learn by experimenting. I learned by saying, okay, so for me, the highest point is when I connect individuals together. And then same thing with you right now, meeting with you, it's like, hey, the only agenda is I want to showcase Bob because he unabashedly gives all the time. And if that gives inspiration to somebody else, that's a huge motivation. So what was your kind of, this is it, this is my key. It's about business relationship. It's not about business transactions. When did that shift happen for you?
Yeah, I think the aha moment was actually to realize, yes, I mean, I think, and as you said at the beginning, we say, yeah, we want to give, also to receive, but sometimes the challenge or the key question is how much will I invest of time and so on. And our moment for me was actually to realize that I was able really to impact without that much effort. When I'm putting, I mean, if you come back to the Short Out Friday post, I need like around 40 to 50 minutes to do that, right? But I was amazed by the feedback. I was amazed, people reaching out. I got a mail where someone said, hey, through your Short Out Friday, I had 5 leads coming and asking for services. And I say, yeah, and that's a bit the motivator behind it, to realize that you don't need that much to impact. You don't need that much to really, I mean, the key is will to give, and then probably you get there.
So again, one of the last questions is for somebody who is, I wouldn't say never given, but not given unabashedly, right? How do they go past that? I mean, I wouldn't call them takers, but they are, let's say, to your point about, hey, they are really in this business transaction mode, right? Which is for the right reasons. They want to care for themselves, the family, and so forth. But now they want to get into this UGAT journey, right? So what would be the kind of the first tip that you would give them? Is like, hey, start with A and then B and then C, and then see how the journey goes. What would be your advice for them?
And I think the easiest way, it's probably first to understand your why. Why are you out there, right? What's driving you? Because again, Ashwin, transactional and relationship, it's actually linked to your why, right? Yeah. If your why is not mainly to serve, you will definitely struggle to be relationship oriented. It's that simple, right? So that's actually where he's at. And if someone actually acknowledge that, or probably, let's say, redefine his why so that it's mainly there to serve. And don't misunderstand me, right? Serving doesn't mean that I don't want to do business. That's not the point. But the point is that I'm setting the focus somewhere else, right? I'm looking at a return on a long-term goal. But we are all there to do business, myself too, right? So there's not like, okay, we are not in the charity, definitely not. But the question is, with the right why, moving to a relationship-oriented way of doing business, right? To building business relationship will be more easier than if you actually don't have, or your purpose or your goal, your why is not to serve. That will be that. And once someone has actually decided that, okay, my purpose will be probably to serve, then the next step is just to start with what you have, right? Start with what you have. And we used to say that, for example, even already giving a smile, it's giving something, right? Because also we think that, okay, we need something complex. And so, no, just start with what you have and start giving with the little you have. And then you realize that the more you give, the more you understand why you can give more, and then the more you get back. That's probably, for me, the easiest way to start. And that's what I would advise someone to do if you want to go there.
Brilliant, right? By the way, I have the book that you were referring right there, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Again, fantastic reading. It's
exactly.
Bob, again,
it's an amazing book.
It is, yeah. And talking about amazing, thanks for an amazing conversation. Thanks for doing this. And again, I'm sure there's going to be comments once I post this, and the audience has visibility into what you're doing. And clearly, for folks who aren't following Bob, I would highly encourage you to do so. And the Friday shout out is absolutely amazing, and you'll build a great community. Again, thanks for everything that you're doing, and good luck.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you for talking about that, and then keep in touch, and hope to have the other opportunity to celebrate, to share, and to give. Thank you once.
Likewise. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks.